Today we're gonna see if being a warlord is all that it's cracked up to be. Mostly because I found a $5 deal on Warlord, also known as Professor X in Shi'ar armor from the Marvel Legends line. What else is there to this character? Let's open him up and find out. Now, aside from the blister poking me when I was trying to free his cape based on how it was configured in the packaging, this was a relatively straightforward character to unbox. We get Warlord, we get not one, but two punching fists, closed fists, whatever you want to call them. We also get this head sculpt of Professor X. It's a little, I don't know, unnerving. He's like an unnatural smile. Makes me uneasy. Is he trying to read my mind? Trying to control my mind? Why am I still staring at him? Questions to be answered later. But first we're going to take a look at the base Warlord figure because this is how he's assembled. And the first thing you need to know is that the cape is not soft goods. It is that soft PVC-esque plastic that does look, it has a nice good sculpted detail, but it's going to limit our movement, namely in the legs. I cannot for the life of me get a good bend going in the elbows. I can't get a good bend going in the knees unless I kick out his legs some. Now, this is kind of strange, and whoa, hey, he's got one really stiff leg. There we go. So there he is. The ankles swivel really well. That's a good movement there. And he does swivel at the hips. We got double joints for both the knees and the elbows. They are pinless, by the way. Here he's like, I don't know. He almost looks like he's ready to like run or cry or something like that. But ultimately, he's a figure where he's top heavy. This is the top heavy figure. Most of the detail and sculpting and points of interest are shoulders on up. So the helmet is cool. I like that look of the helmet, but it makes me wonder how he can breathe or if his nose can breathe, if he has to like be a mouth breather, because I honestly don't know how you can breathe with that mask on. Now we can get a good look around his downward movement on the head. Even with that large of helmet looks really good, but because we have this cowl along the back, like this collar around his cape, we are not going to get an upward movement with his look at all. Now I'm guessing if we swap the heads, we will be able to do that. And I'm wondering if this is, I think this is just floating on his shoulder, so we might even be able to take off the cape. Let's do that. So okay, here's Warlord without his head. Yes, you can remove the cape. He has a peg in the back for a backpack, but it doesn't peg in from here. So let's just put his Professor X head on. We'll see how this looks. This is a shockingly plain figure without any sort of extra details from the cape or from the helmet. He's just a bald guy in a spandex suit. So I wouldn't immediately recognize this as Professor X or even Warlord with the suit, but we do get a lot better movement from him. So we can do things like move his knees. We can do things like make him look up and all kinds of other things. The butterfly joints on this guy are working super hard. Look at that. Like it almost looks like a dislocation. That's how far back these go. But it does give us some extra movement, which again, without the cape on, this thing is rather nice. But the point of this character, I think, is to have this Shi'ar armor on him. And even without the helmeted head, he looks much better with the cape. However, he still does look unnerving. Like there's something slightly menacing going on there. Maybe if I read the comic run, I would understand a little better. But it is a good head sculpt. I mean, like, I'm getting an emotion from it, which is like a really positive thing overall. So I don't know, let's run down some things I like, some things I don't like, what I possibly would have changed, and my overall thoughts on this figure. What do you say? Now to do this section, I wanted to configure him in what I feel is the best possible configuration, which is the one that it comes in the box. I much rather like the stoic look of this helmeted face sculpt than I do like that smiling look that, I don't know, it just feels slightly off. But ultimately this comes with a lot of sacrifices. So while I do like the look of Warlord and the full regalia here, I don't like how it limits the movement. I feel if this were a soft goods cape, I would have a lot different opinion of this, because it would provide flexibility for this body type that provides for a lot of movement that's hidden because of the cape. Now, if that were just like shirt fabric or something like that, that wouldn't be a concern, right? Because it would fold and bend and move with the character, but we don't have that luxury here. If you remove the helmet and if you remove the cape, then you're left with an extremely plain figure that is, I don't know, rather boring. I would rather have like one of the suited figures, like one of the Eternal Peg Warmers, like Everett Ross or something like that, where it is just a guy in a suit versus something that is a guy in a spandex with some blue lines on him. Ultimately, I got my $5 worth out of this figure. He comes with alternate hands, a head sculpt. Like, it's not a bad value for $5, but I cannot imagine paying full price for this guy. And for somebody named Warlord, well, that's kind of a crime. Here's the thing, like a figure like this, and if I'm thinking back to like X-Men 97, where we see this character, where I recognize him from, I don't know what else you could do with this. Maybe some effects, like some, like telekinetic effects would have been a good pack-in for this one. So maybe that was something I would do a little differently. Just throw in maybe some already made or possible reuse parts that could be used as blast effects or power effects. Or better yet, throw in a Build-A-Figure piece so that it would be a little more of an enticing figure to get. How he stands, how he behaves in even his best possible configuration just feels limited. Feels like there could have been something done a little more to push it forward. Not every single Marvel Legends needs to do that, and he does have a cool helmet, so he's got that going for him. But ultimately, this character isn't for me. But anyway, if you want to get more discussions, if you want to talk more about action figures in the future, well, I talk a lot about action figures. I got a lot of G.I. Joes here, but further down the thing, we've got some Marvel Legends, we've got some Star Wars Black Series, there's even a pile right here that I'm just gonna tear into over the year, and we will talk about all kinds of awesome action figures. Collectibles, pop culture, and then also blasters. Anything action related, action figures, action toys, action everywhere. We're gonna talk about it here on the Ri-Fi channel, so you gotta hit that subscribe button to get more videos in the future. So that's all I know about Warlord, also known as Professor X. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.